Welcome back to your Scratch tutorials. In this tutorial, we're going to make our character move around on the screen. To get started, you want to make sure that you have your main character selected down here. Secondly, go ahead and choose one of the backdrops that actually is a screen you can walk around for while we're testing. With this main character selected, you'll see all of the options for code over here. As you can tell, all the code is split into different colors based off what it does. We're going to want to start with an event. The events you can scroll down to here, or you can click on events in the left and that will jump to that section. We're going to start with this when flag is clicked event. Click and drag it into your workspace. Scratch starts its game when you click on that green flag. So this is saying essentially when the game is started, we're going to do something. We're going to want this to run forever because we want it to always be able to move. So I'm going to click and drag that forever and attach it to the when flag is clicked. Now in here, I want it to be able to recognize when we are pressing certain keys and then do something. For that, I'm going to use an if statement. If statements essentially say that if something is happening, then it will do something else. This something is a certain shape. Anything in Scratch that is that shape can go into here. For example, if I scroll down, you'll see in sensing, there are lots of different options that have this triangle corner shape. For example, if it was touching a certain color, it would do something. Or if a key was pressed, it would do something. This is the one we want, so we're going to click and drag it into our app. There we go. Now we don't want the space key. We instead want this to be the right arrow key. Now, when the right arrow key is pressed, something will happen. We need to decide that something. Let's go back up to motion. And then there is a change x by number. Remember that just like in your graphs in math class, x goes this way on the screen and y goes this way. And to the right is a positive x, to the left is a negative x. Up is a positive y, and down is a negative y. You can actually see the position of your sprite already. It's at 1 and 12. If I took it and dragged it, you'd see those numbers change. If I dragged it to the left, the x number gets smaller. If I dragged it up, the y number gets bigger. This is what we're going to be controlling in our game. As it is, this should work. So let's go ahead and click on the green flag and test to see if that right key works. Now when I press the right key, I move, but I move way too quickly and I can't move back. So let's stop the game. I can bring my character back to the middle. And I want to make it so I move less quickly. I think I want to change x by 3 to start. All right, I'm also going to right click on this if statement and duplicate. That gives me a second set, which I can now place right down here. That's exactly like the first one. But in this case, I actually want it to be the left key that it is set to, and I want it to change the x by -3. This way, when we press the left arrow, the x will go down by 3 each time, meaning it'll go left. If I start the game, I should now be able to move right and left, and it's not too fast. It's an okay speed. If you want it to be faster, you can make these numbers larger, and if you want your character to move slower, you can make these numbers smaller. That's up to you, and it's going to depend on your game. As it is right now, we've made it so that our character can move left and right. For some of your games, that might be enough if it's a side scroller. But in my case, and for many of you, I'm going to want the character to be able to move up and down as well. So once again, I'm going to take these if statements, and I'm going to duplicate them. Make a duplicate and a duplicate. But now I want this to say up arrow and down arrow And I want to change this, instead of change x by 3, I want to change the y by 3. So let's place that in there. Make it 3. Click on the change x and delete block. Right click and delete block. Same thing with the change x here. We're going to delete this block and then change y by -3. If I hit play, you can now see my character can move left and right like before, but it can also move up and down. It can even move left and up at the same time by holding both keys down. This works if your character is able to move in all 4 directions. However, you might have a character that's only meant to go left and right and jump. So I'm going to show you how you could make a system that works with that. I'm going to make a copy of this so we can look at that system. For a system where your character is able to walk left and right, we want to keep the right arrow and the left arrow, but we want the up arrow to do something else, and we don't need the down arrow. So let's right-click on this if statement and delete it. And then we're going to make this up arrow do something slightly different. In your control options, there's an option to repeat items a certain number of times. We can use this for now, though you may end up changing it based on your specific needs later. I'm going to put this into the if statement, and then we're going to make the change y be different. So we're going to put the change y inside the repeat. The repeat's going to happen 10 times. And we're going to have him jump by 1 10 different times. And then we're going to duplicate this and have him move down again after 10 times. So if I hit go, you'll see when I move up, it now does this little hop. But you'll notice it completely freezes the X. Okay, to fix that issue, I've made this a separate when clicked statement. Now this can happen at the same time that this is also happening. So we can go left and right, but we can also do our jump. Now I changed the numbers here to something that I felt was a little bit better. So instead of 10 times moving up by only 1, I wanted to move a little faster and higher. So I had it go 6 times up by 2. And when I click play and I jump, you'll now see that the jump's a little faster. And as I move left and right, I can still jump. Now maybe that's not enough, and I wanted to jump even higher. I could set these to 3 and -3. And I could stop and restart the game. And you'll see I can jump pretty far. Maybe I want the jump to last longer, so I make this number back up to 10. And now when I play, you can see the jump happening. So this is how you would build your movement if your character is only meant to go left, right, and jump. And this here on the left is how you would build your movement if your character is meant to be able to go in all 4 directions. Now you'll notice as we move around, our character doesn't actually change, it stays the same. We're going to fix that. First off, I'm going to get rid of the section that is for the other style of movement because it's not right for my game. I'm just going to use this one part that lets my character move in all 4 directions. Now I have a separate costume for this character when he's facing to the right. I want to use that when my character is moving to the right. So in these if statements, I'm going to add a new action. If I go up to looks, there's an option to switch the costume or to go to the next costume if I had them lined up in a certain order. In this case, I'm going to want to switch my costume to the right facing one when the right arrow is pressed. So switch costume 2, and this is the right one for facing that way. Don't worry about the naming, that's just my naming system. You name yours as you want them to be called. So now, when I hit play, you'll see it's already facing to the right. We got to fix that. Let's go and select the one facing down and hit play again. And now when I press the right arrow, it switches to the one to the right. But it doesn't switch back, so we need to fix that. I'm going to add a switch costume to, and I'm going to put it before the if statement in the forever. So now it'll always be facing down unless I press the right arrow. When I'm pressing the right arrow, it switches to the right one. Now I will go ahead and add these for all the other directions for my character to move. And I will have a character that I can completely move around my screen. Alternatively, I could put this in a separate when clicked statement over here so that it's easier to tell exactly what's happening. That would look something like this. So this is how it would look if it was separated. I have my costume controlling on one part, and I have my movement on another. It's up to you which way you want to make your code look. This might be clearer for you to use in the future, and it's what I'm going to use as well. This is the goal for today. Please try to get this done by the end of this class. And if you finish that, you can move on to the next tutorial.